Well, I'm a YouTube consumer just like you are. I gravitate to content that holds my interest, just like you do. Lately, it's been watch reviews. Out of genre watch reviews. That is from non-tactical channels. These are usually guys that do nothing but watch reviews. Kind of like Mark at Long Island Watch. Say hi for me. Say nutnfancy sent you. I enjoy them. They're fun. It's just really fun. And I have learned so much over the last year or so that I strive to integrate into my own WRVs to give you hopefully an entertaining and informative product and communicate to you my own preferences with a plethora of what I consider to be really high value watches. Ones that make you happy, that you'll smile when you put it on and wear it through the day. That's really all it's about. That will usually hold their value. So if you want to sell them on the secondary market, which I do, you can do that. And you'll get a lot of your money out of it if you take care of it. It's kind of like 2009 here in TNP when I was starting the high value knife collection videos for guys. I mean, most of my viewers weren't into knives at all. And they started telling me, hey, I'm watching your videos. I never knew that sport knives, tactical knives was ever such a thing. EDC knives. You've educated me and I've bought a lot off your videos. And it's fun. And so they have a collection, which actually in the big scheme of things is very affordable. They didn't spend much on it at all, but it gave them and gives them huge amount of happiness as a collector and a user. So I'm not just a collector, but I use the things that I have in my inventory. That's what TNP is all about. It's a gear channel. Speaking of knives, let's put a tabletop decoration on, shall we? And it's high value, and it's somewhat special. The Blade HQ Digicam Tenacious. This is one of those blades I was talking about. So back, what was it, 08, 09, I started talking about Tenacious. And various colorations came out. Once upon a time we had that store, what was it called? Your Corner Store. It's long out of business, sadly. Its margins were too low. It could not compete at that. I told you that could happen. It happened. But this is one of those knives. So you could have a coloration of every Tenacious. You just swap them out like you do your watches and have a blast. So this is a special edition, I believe, BHQ Digicam. Lots of cool variations. I'll put some links below. Some will be Amazon. I'll try to find the one for BHQ. This is selling very well because it's affordable and it has an air of specialty to it, just like this watch does. And it honestly is probably going to surprise you that I'm going to throw this watch out in front of the camera and review it. You probably never thought I would be interested in a watch like this. Whip sound. Look at that. Dude, that is pure nostalgia, nutnfancy. How in the world would you be attracted to that watch? Well, this is how. We get tired of wearing the same things. Sound familiar? Women get tired of wearing the same shoes. They like swapping shoes out. We get tired sometimes of carrying the same blade over and over. So we want some variety. We want some different things in our inventory. And I like old-fashioned. I've always liked old-fashioned things. It doesn't mean I like totally integrate them into my EDC all the time, but I like their aesthetic. That's why. And I like pilot watches. And this is kind of a pilot watch of sort. It's a vintage watch. It's an Aeromatic 1912. That is the brand. I didn't name it. That's just what they've chosen. Designed in Germany, I think. Manufactured overseas somewhere to keep the costs low. If this was a 100% German-made watch, it would be in the hundreds. I would just ballpark it around $300. I got it off Amazon for $100. So there's a screenshot right there. $100 for that. So that's, to me, that's a very high value watch, which in my mind is anything under $300. I'm just going to start saying that pretty much in all the WRVs. If it's less than $300, it's a high value watch. Because one of the things I've learned over the last year is that watches can be uber expensive, and not just high-end watches. I'm talking even some Seikos and Citizens. They can be very expensive. So I think if you come around $100 mark, you're doing pretty good, especially for this level of specialness, says me. And it's just cool. It makes me happy when I wear it. I've been wearing it all day, by the way. It's been my EDC watch. several comments on it. People just are drawn to it, which is kind of fun because it's a great way to strike up a conversation with another watch dude. It's different. And I am pairing these days. I am, no apologies. I mean, I'm pairing it with, like, I'll have an iWatch on, this is Series 2 on this side. I got to go to a certain screen. Hang on. So here's my iWatch. So this is on my right wrist. Yeah, I wear two. But this is for messaging and fitness. You know, I don't really use it as a watch. I don't think an iWatch has any soul. And I don't know if it's that great of a watch. Anytime I need to read the time, it's always blanked out or the battery's dead. So I pair it. And that allows me to be a little bit more flamboyant on the left wrist, or I'll swap them around. That's just me. And by the way, I see a lot more guys doing that. A lot more guys. Either a Fitbit next to an analog or doing what I'm doing. I see a lot of dudes wearing like an iWatch or a smartwatch on the other wrist. And then they just go crazy with a fun watch on the other side. Aeromatic 1912. This cool looking watch. So I mentioned that I mention this a lot. I do like pilot watches. I like vintage pilot watches. The real pilot watches back in the day were huge because they were adapted pocket watches with brazed on lugs and then strapped over a leather flight jacket. And I'm going to bring you one just by way of reference. And this is, I don't even know who makes this, but it's a Luftwaffe replica pilot watch. And I'm going to compare it size-wise against the Aeromatic. So this is a much bigger, more authentic size of a pilot watch. High legibility. This is mechanical. Wind up. This is an automatic. Yay, I'm reviewing an automatic. Yeah, so this is a really cool watch. You can see the second hands ticking in here. I've got my patented crystal. I'm not kidding, it's not patented, but I have my crystal protectors on both of these. This one has a rub mark in it. But I'm showing you, this is a classic styled pilot's watch. This is an original, and in fact, the band on it is actually pulled off a Naviforce, a very inexpensive Naviforce that I had laying around, and it was working great. You can even see the Naviforce logo on there, so it's a inexpensive band on it, black leather. So size-wise, this is actually the size I prefer. So if this was this size, I would like it a little bit more. This is still going to rank very high in my likability, but like I said, when I'm pairing, in the sense that I'm wearing a smartwatch and an analog watch, I like this. I like a bigger analog. On the wrist, by the way, is an AV8, previously reviewed, highly recommended, Harrier 2. This style has been discontinued, so if you saw that review, hopefully you ordered it. If not, you need to jump on it because it's going away. They'll make different watches under the AV8 brand. And I'm showing you this also by way of style contrast, because this is a modern interpretation of a pilot's watch. It's actually carrying the AV8 Harrier 2 VTOL plain logo on the back. I showed it on that video. And this is a no-holds-barred vintage watch. Which do I like best? Equal. I like them both. But there's really, I can't say I like one over the other. They're both outstanding. Let's consider, shall we, the presentation of the 82017. I really love it. And I'm trying to hold it at an angle to minimize those reflections. The lighting's good today. That's awesome. Big numerals, pretty good legibility on this watch. Is it perfect? I'm talking legibility. I wouldn't say it's perfect for me, because what I would like to do, come here Tenacious, I need your pointing abilities, is I'd like to have these hands bigger. I like big old hands kind of coming all the way out to the periphery, at least for the minutes hand. The hours hand, I would like it to be a little bit longer, but I understand why they designed the 82017 the way they did, because you have an inner 24-hour dial and you have a date window right here, and they didn't want to occlude that. That's why the hands are painted black in the center, because again, they want you to be able to read that military time. And then the very stubby hours hands is not going to block the viewing of your date window. It's just date, no day on this one. That being said, though, I still think you can pick them out readily. I like their looks overall. I love the big numerals around the periphery. I like the precise minute markings. Again, this is a pilot aesthetic. meaning it was useful and used for pilots in World War II and beyond. And when I flew T-38 Talons, speak of the devil, where's my patch? I actually used my duty watch, which at the time, I forget what it was. I actually used it for time and turns and dead reckoning. They taught us that. They're like, hey, you need to know how to fly radial for a certain distance, and you'll turn, you'll apply your wind correction, and you'll end up amazingly close to where you think you should end up. And that's how they did it in World War II. So watches were key, crucial pieces of equipment. And I speak from experience that we used ours constantly. The seconds hand is kind of a blending seconds hand. You can kind of see it's, I don't know, what is it, gunmetal gray. You can tell the automatic movement. It's almost a smooth sweep. It's very quiet in operation, this watch. Now it has kind of the throwback crystal to it. See this? It's kind of a raised acrylic crystal. This isn't sapphire. This isn't hardlex. It's not mineral. I believe it's just acrylic. And this is one you would definitely want to cover with my crystal protector, which is that armor suit material that I talked about. Really easy to do, and it'll prevent at least the top portion of getting completely thrashed. And that's what I've done on this one. You can see it's almost invisible. But the cool thing about this is it's a magnifying crystal, so it almost has a magnifying effect on it, which, again, I'm not the expert, but I think going back to that era, in the 1930s, 1940s, being able to really pick off the time quickly was important. And so big numerals, big hands, in this case, a slight, it's not very much, but a slight magnification was important. Incidentally, Aeromatic 1912 does this with some other watches. They have like a Panzer watch that does it. Really cool watch. I have that one. I'll review it separately. Sadly, I don't have it on the table right now. But it's a cool look. It's different. And it's, again, nostalgic. Let's look at the case. Kind of an antique case on the side. I like the strap that comes with it. I mean, it's not the highest quality NATO strap I've ever seen. It's probably made in China. But I have no intention of swapping it out because it just works. I mean, I would like a stiffer fabric. I would like blackened keepers. It's a kind of a thin buckle single keeper. And I don't know. I would just say it's a lower quality strap overall. So if you didn't like it, you could find something to swap it out. We're just looking at the aesthetics right now. Then we'll take a closer look at that face again. Look at the case back. So this is an automatic movement. It's showing A1423 back here. They got an Aeromatic 1912 on the rotor there. High polish screw-on case back. It's waterproof to 50 atmospheres. We'll call it 50 meters. I would never take this watch swimming. That's just me. It's probably, you know, splash proof, maybe a little bit of shower proof. It's a non-screw down crown, if you care. Great looks. Now, the standout feature, of course, when we consider aesthetics, is the retention spring. Kind of cool. Now, there are probably several watches that use this feature to make sure at the time and with the technology and craftsmanship they had at the time that the crown wouldn't come out and the time would be changed. Now it's purely aesthetic, I think. And this is how it works. It's actually a stainless steel spring on double hooks. And there's two ways you can actually adjust it that I have found and that I've used. You can actually just sweep it to the side and pull your crown out and start adjusting. What I do actually is, I don't want to scratch or rub anything and put undue wear on it. I'll just unclip it like that. I think that's probably the proper way to do it. And then you'll pull it out. And now you'll notice that even though this is an automatic watch, it hacks, which is pretty cool. There's a lot that don't have that feature. What we're talking about where the seconds hand will stop. Now let's bring our attention into the center where the military time is, and this is something you need to be aware of. You don't set that. It actually slaves to your time. So right now we're in the PM side of it. So we're looking at coming up on 1800 hours there on the center dial. So here's comes 6 o'clock. This is 6 p.m. and that's showing 1800 hours military time. How cool is that? Then as we rotate around, we go to a new date. You see the date window swap over, and we're just messing around here. Now we're 7 in the morning and your military time shows 7. Really trick. Really trick. And then you'll just push your stem in just a little bit and then you can change your date. And then let's look at the branding on the watch face. I think it's pretty cool. So there's the Aeromatic logo in the top. Now keep in mind the price. I mean, you show someone this watch that isn't a watch person or a collector themselves, they'll probably think this watch was more expensive than the $100 you paid. And again, that's a snapshot in time. It could go up, it could go down. I can't say what's going to happen there. And then you got the classic crown right here. Serrations on it with a groove for the retention spring. Kind of an antique look again on the side. And then we're going to pretend that we're all synced up and hacked, and then we'll just put our clasp on. There you go. That's so cool, dude. It's just a cool watch. So let's put it on the wrist. And as I take this AV8 off, I'm going to go ahead and show you size comparison. Because AV8 Harrier 2, this is a favorite. This particular model is a favorite in size for me. So on this one, the crystal's really pushed out to a very narrow rim on the case. Okay, and by the way, I love NATO straps. They're one of my all-time favorite straps. Not this one, because I already talked about the quality levels. I think it could be a lot better. Just the fabric and the whole furniture set on it, so to speak. But NATO straps are so comfortable, dude. They breathe in the summer, and you just forget you have them on. Whereas if I'm wearing a silicone band, maybe not so much. So here we go. Here it is on the wrist. Good looking. Not my wrist. My wrist is horrible. But the watch is cool. And you can't hear it ticking either, right? Now, I will review and have several other automatic watches. Seiko comes to mind that are going to come to tabletop as soon as you guys watch to a level, no pun intended, that excites me, where I'll post more WRVs as a subset to the content flow here. And I have been using an automatic watch winder to check their accuracy. This was included as well. I found that automatic watches, no big surprise, are not that accurate. They'll drift several minutes per month is what I've been finding. And that's just what you put up with if you have an automatic watch. This one wasn't too bad. I think over 30 days or so, it was like a minute and a half different. Minute and a half. But aesthetically, it's just so cool. Sweat factor is really low. Bang factor is low for what it is. Durability, I think, for what it is pretty high. An automatic watch. You know, if you wear this every day for 10 years, is the movement going to give out? I don't have the answer to that. I don't know in terms of automatic movements, the parts that comprise this movement are going to be that durable. But I would say if you got 5 years of hard use out of it, it'd be money well spent. Definitely worth $100. Definitely. You might say, well, between that and a more modern interpretation of a pilot's watch, and I'm just using the AV8 because it's here, which one would you prefer? Again, I can't really choose. I mean, each one has its own different aesthetic. This one lays flatter on the wrist. It presents larger. It looks great. I love the leather strap. The quality of AV8 brand is superb. I can't fault anything about the watch. The price was insane. I mean, we scored these in Amazon for $80, dude. $80? Insane. They've gone up since then. They're like $160 now. Commodity principle in play. But I like this one too. It's just kind of steampunky, Captain Nemo-ish, and I like that. It's something different, it's a standout in a sea of G-Shocks, a standout in a sea of Seikos, Citizens, and other watches. It's cool to make a nostalgic statement once in a while. I like that. I highly recommend it. It's going to get an extremely high likability scale on it. If I find out something negative about the watch as I continue to test it, I'll come back to the video and change my likability scale and let you know and comment in the description. Nut and Fancy. See ya.